Bam, what's happening, Ward Wrestling Live? I know you see the women's logo behind me, but a dude in the photos, that's because he is the women's wrestling coach at Indiana Tech, and he is Paul Rademacher. If I totally screwed that up, sorry.
No, that's fun.
He's that Indiana Tech women's wrestling coach. You can see the logo behind him there. He himself was a D1 wrestler at Oregon State. He coached 4 state champions at Mount Vernon High School and multiple state placers. He was or is or might still be, I'm not sure, the Oregon junior national team coach. And he's with us today. Coach Paul Rademacher. What's up, Coach?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
That's awesome. Are you still doing the junior national thing or strictly
obviously with Indiana? Was with Oregon when I was in Oregon. And now that I'm out in Indiana, when we went to Fargo a year ago, we were able to join in with Team Indiana and work with the ladies there. They had the biggest group ever from Indiana a year ago, and we were expecting bigger things this year. Obviously, it was slowed down, but we'll do it next year. That's fine.
Yeah, that's awesome. And well, it's good to see that from one junior team to the other, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And probably better for you to do it in Indiana now because you may want those young ladies at Indiana Tech, right?
Yes, very much so.
That's awesome. And well, first of all, welcome. I mean, you come highly recommended. Thanks so much for coming on here. Everybody talks how well respected you are in the wrestling world, and thank you. It's an honor to have you. And obviously, this summer has been a little bit different for you, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thanks. I'm honored to be here. This has been amazing to see what you built out of just trying to start something. But yeah, summer's been different. It was different anyway, just being a first year program. So we spent a lot of time recruiting for the past year, and then recruiting definitely got turned upside down when we couldn't really travel or have visits or things like that. So we started prepping for the athletes that were coming, and we've got 25 here on campus. So pretty excited about this group.
Yeah, and I know obviously you know Ashley and Christian really well, and I had them on, and he had said that when this happened, the total focus turned to just recruiting because they were just looking for a way to how can we be productive now in this time, and so they learned how to be better recruiters, I guess, or do it differently, or reach out in different ways. Is that something that you kind of have seen through the coaching world? Has that adjustment happened?
Yeah, I think a lot of coaches try to get creative, try to find things. Indiana Tech specifically, we were able to put together some virtual tours and things like that for people to see campus and get to interact with either the coaches or the admissions people or even our student athletes that are on campus. We were able to kind of put some of that together even this fall for a couple of different individuals, and continuing to do that for people that maybe can't afford to travel or aren't able to travel. And so it really made us better at recruiting people that maybe are a little farther away and can't make something work to come see it in person.
Yeah, I was, I don't know who I was asking this to as a coach, but do you think that learning how to do things better virtually will make coaching different, or coaching better, or recruiting better, or having the ability to have better home training systems or better non-traveling recruiting systems or whatever? I don't know if that makes sense, but does it make sense? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I do. I do think it'll make things better for all athletics, but for wrestling specifically. Wrestling's a sport that doesn't need a lot of technology. So the opportunity to bring technology into what we're doing, I think it should make us better at things. I know our track coach here at Indiana Tech, he put together a virtual event and had like 300 people on it.
Wow.
It's just amazing to me that if you can do that in one sitting, like if you're able to do that and reach that many people, it'll change the game on who you're reaching and how you can get things together.
Yeah. How do you do hurdles virtually?
That I don't know.
Today we're going to do the virtual high jump. Hey, but whatever works, right? Whatever works. Yeah, good for him, man. That's awesome. Well, obviously, it's a second year program, but a first year active program, right? If that makes sense. So the
Yes.
first year was spent mostly uh, putting everything to paper, recruiting, hiring coaches, setting up your staff, designing what you want. And now the second year is now you're gonna get to see kind of what you're starting to build, and we're gonna get on the mat, right? I mean,
Exactly.
talk about that process of building a brand new program.
Yeah, the leadership here at Indiana Tech was when they announced that they were starting a program, they announced that they were starting basically a year and a half after they announced that they were starting their program. So they were never intending to start in 2020, or sorry, 2019. 2020 was the start year. And so that told me that the leadership from the university, athletic directors, the VP of student affairs, the VP of various different things, knew that it was something that they didn't want to jump into with kind of whoever shows up. It was intentional. And to me, that told me a lot about what I wanted. They said, go get the team you want, not just whoever shows up. And so it was planned. It was something that we could get a plan together to get the athletes here to give us the best chance to be successful right away, which is, I believe we're ready to do that. We ended up with a recruiting class of 22. We had 3 that were on campus last year that are back. And so that gives us 25 right now for this year, which is for a first year program, a great number. There's a lot of programs that don't have 25 even that have been around for multiple years. So it gives us good practice partners, training partners, and good training situation for all our athletes.
Nice. And are you NAIA or are you a new division series?
No, NAIA. So we are NAIA. We're going to be in the Mid-South Conference. So we will see Ashley and Christian regularly. We'll see Campbellsville and Cumberland's as well. And, Bruton Parker, St. Andrews, and Lords. So we've got 7 teams in our conference, which makes us a great conference. And it's one of the toughest in the country anyway. So.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool because I've had the pleasure of talking to many different NAIA coaches.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you the truth, until I started this show, I didn't even know that an NAIA was whatever. I mean, I had heard of Life U just because Omi's a Florida guy, and every tournament that I would go to in Florida, you'd see a sign up that said Life U, right? So obviously with his home state, he pushes, right? And good for him. So I had heard that name, right? But I didn't know it was an NAIA, so I just figured it was another college that kids go to and they get an education and they wrestle or play football or whatever it is they do, right? So until this, I didn't even realize it. And then getting to talk to everybody in that conference and getting to see how good it is and the schools, the education level and the opportunities is awesome. One really cool thing was when you talk to like the different coaches, whether it's a male or a female coach, whether it's a women's team or a men's team, the communication between the division coaches is pretty strong. Like legit, one coach told me that there's times I may be recruiting a kid, but it doesn't fit for my program, but they're not a bad kid. And I call another NAIA team and I'm like, hey, you should really talk to Susie or Johnny and we just try to look out because most importantly, it's about the kid.
Definitely. And I think there is a lot of collaboration. Not to say that we're not competitive as coaches. We're 100%. We want, all the kids and all the good kids and everything else. But if it's somebody that wants to be a teacher, I don't have that program. I don't have that. So we've got to find ways to get that kid their education and their opportunity to continue their career, their active athletic career and academic career at a place that fits for them too. So yeah, definitely.
You mean wrestling is not a major?
We're not there yet. We're
not there yet. Yeah. You mean I got to go to school too?
Yes. Yeah. It's
part of it, huh?
It is.
What are some of two-part question. Your goals for the program. Other than winning. We know obviously every coach wants to win and be the best and win championships, but it seems like there's always bigger goals for coaches because you're coaching young women, and you also want to create great ladies for the future. So there's stuff like that. But then also, how does a girl get recruited by Indiana Tech? Uh, is there a certain young lady you're looking for?
Mhm.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So first part, for our program, we're looking for just producing. Obviously, like you said, we want to be successful on the mat, but we're also going to be successful off the mat. And our men's team kind of set the standard for us, and our men's team's been around for about 10 years now, and they have more scholar athletes than they do All-Americans, and they've been very successful. They've been a top 8 at national duels 6 times in 10 years. So they're pretty successful on the mat. So they've kind of set the standard. And so we want to be successful in the classroom. We've got some pretty specific majors, but at the same time, we want athletes that eventually, when they get done here, that they still like the sport and still want to go back and find a way back into continuing to compete after they get done graduating, or go back and coach, whether that's coaching little kids, coaching their own kids, coaching at a high school. Women's wrestling is growing at such a rate that finding coaches to backfill for that is very difficult to get in the programs. I know Ohio's been struggling finding enough coaches, even, and it's like Ohio's one of the biggest wrestling states in the country, and if they can't find extra coaches to coach their women's team, then we've got to produce them. And so that's kind of one of the big goals of the program, is that we have athletes that would get done and still love the sport so much that they're ready to go jump back into it in a different role. And then, and then obviously, like I said, academic, we want to have as many academic All-Americans as we do All-Americans. And that's not hidden. Our school alone had 167 last year. We had 167 scholar athletes at Indiana Tech last year. 23 teams that were academic teams. And all that tells me is we're not going to be able to start on the low end of like, oh, we'll just get a whatever GPA. Like, no, the standard is here at Indiana Tech that we're student athletes. And so that's one of the things that I look for when I'm recruiting is I'm looking for student athletes. Doesn't mean you have to be a 4.0 kid, but it means you have to be willing to work hard. Even my kids that are here that didn't have the best high school GPAs, they're here doing work. We do study table every week and do a bunch of different things like that to get them successful. And right now, everybody's got a great GPA within our program. I know we're only 5 weeks into classes, but we're doing good work there. So,
Awesome. Yeah. I had a young man on yesterday that's at the Air Force Academy.
Oh, wow.
And he said, the one thing that I've always been told is, I'm a student athlete. I'm not an athlete student.
Yeah, definitely.
And, I never heard it said before, and but it makes sense, right?
Yes.
So, that being said, I know when you're on the recruiting trail, obviously this year, when you're on the recruiting Zoom,
Yes.
the virtual trail this year, I know talking to a kid about sport is easy, right? They want to play,
Mm-hmm.
They want to play somewhere, they want to go somewhere and play, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sure the parents are sitting there going, okay, wait, hold on, education, it's important. And I'm sure kids have goals. I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be an attorney. But for the most part, at that young age, they just like, oh my God, a college wants me, I want to go play sports.
For sure.
What do you tell the parents about what your focus is going to be, making sure that you're able to not only help them on the mat to excel there, but also to make sure that their goal is 4 years later, I'm getting a diploma and I'm moving on in life?
Yeah. It's one of those things that as a coach, it's easy to talk, like you said, it's easy to talk about the sport. It's making sure that they understand the vision of the program is that we are producing people that go out and graduate, because you don't get to wrestle forever. Well, we all want to. You do eventually have to go into a career of some sort. And, and so trying to help match them with the parent so that the parent understands that I understand that. that it's not, I'm just not using that athlete for 4 years and like, oh, see you later, thanks. Like, no, it's, hey, we're working towards you having a career that, you know, women's wrestling is a lot of first generation college students. And so a lot of these young women have never even considered college because their parents didn't go to college. They like, that was never really a thought process for them, for a lot of them. And so as we work through that process of, hey, your career no longer has to be whatever you thought it was. We're going to create opportunities for you now to be in criminal justice or in business or in exercise science or for Indiana Tech engineering. Like, you know, it's just different things that it opens their eyes and it opens the parents' eyes to maybe a different life for their kid that every parent wants, right? Every parent wants their kid to have a better life than they did. At least every parent I've ever met.
Yeah, not mine. I want my kids to just fall flat on their face. I'm just kidding. I think I just had that conversation with them on the way home the other night. I was like, you know, I push you because I don't want you to be me. I want you to be better than me, right? And that's cool. But so you know, obviously a lot said there. I don't think I need to ask why Indiana Tech. I think answering those 3 questions or 4 questions, you obviously spoke about the highly academic program there, the scholar athletes that are coming out of there, the graduating classes, and then, you know, obviously you're you're just starting. So the goal is these women go on and do whatever they do, but come back to the room and give back and grow. And they're out there wearing the Indiana Tech shirt and
Exactly.
And repping it. You know, I think I had 2 on the recruiting trail. I had one yesterday, Skylar Hattendorf, and then I had Kylie Welker coming up on 1 at 1. Yep. So I'm sure those are 2 girls that the NAIA world are scrapping over right now.
Definitely. Well, hopefully they're watching today so they can know a little more about Indiana Tech.
Yeah. Forget everyone else, right? That's awesome. You know, so you were a D1 wrestler yourself. I mean, tell us your story.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm an Oregon kid. So Indiana's a long way from original home. But this is home now. But I grew up in Oregon and wrestled at Oregon State. You know, I was a room guy. I wasn't the starter, but I was one of the guys that helped those guys. And that gives me I think it gives me a unique perspective as well. With what we're trying to build here is that it doesn't have to be only hey, if you weren't ranked in the top 5 in the country, we don't want you. Like, no, that's not what we're building here. It gives me the opportunity to kind of have that. I spent 4 years underneath 4 different guys that all were very successful national qualifiers and everything else. And so I just wasn't their level. And so I got to be that guy to help push them every day and help, you know, learn from them. And, you know, I came from a small school. My graduating class was 44 and it was maybe the biggest ever. There was like 1 year, 2 years later that was close, but I don't know exactly if it was bigger or not. And then went to Oregon State. So it made for a big transition, if you can imagine.
Yeah. You went from 44 kids in your entire class to like, that's how many were like in the room.
Yes, exactly. When we started the season, it was probably close to 50 and it's like, oh, this is bigger than my class.
I mean, hey, listen, but you were there. I mean, they had to pick you. You had to be good enough to be in the room. And
And you know, and we, you know, there was definitely opportunities that came from that. You know, I was able to be a U20 or junior. It was the SBAR junior or whatever it was at that point. You know, I was an All-American in Greco for that in 2000. So that was pretty cool. And, you know, again, opportunities that those guys helped me achieve. And after that, I was fortunate enough to get with a high level club, and I was able to compete all the way up until 2017 was the last time, or 17 or 18 was the last time I competed actively. You know, and through that run, I was able to, you know, get to the blood round at the US Open and wrestle David Taylor and some other things. So, I mean, the opportunities that wrestling gave me through the competition side while I was coaching and while I was working with different people was amazing.
How'd that go, wrestling David Taylor?
Well, it's on YouTube and it's not very long. Let's just say I read a GIF about it. That's about how well it went.
At least you got the picture, right?
Right. Yeah. And, you know, I mean, that's one of the things, right? You can, when a kid comes off after they lose, right? I can tell them like, hey, I've been there. I've been pinned in 14 seconds. Like I'm an elite athlete, as you know, like but it's happened. And so when they have it happen to them, I can respond in a way that helps them understand that I understand, and that we will just work from there. We'll get better from there. It's not the end of the world. Like it matters, but it doesn't matter, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get it. But yeah, I always like hearing those stories. I'll have someone on and be like, yeah, so I was doing good. And then I had somebody on and they were like, oh, my first time to Fargo, I had Henry Cejudo and someone else they said in their bracket. And I was like, how'd that go? Well, I ended up fourth or something. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, everything everybody says about David Taylor, like being longer than he seems or stronger than he seems, that's all true. I can speak from experience. It happened.
Yeah, I have been physically manhandled by him. Yeah, that's awesome. You know, the growth of women's wrestling has been obviously amazing. Look, another school opening. And I've talked to a few, I think, this summer that are new women's programs in AI. So not just new women, but new men programs opening up too. So, but we're on women here. So the growth of women's wrestling has been amazing. More programs in the NAI are opening up, like yourself. That's got to mean big things. The division series starting to say yes, we'll take it. Division one, it looks like, is on the cusp of doing it, right? And then talking to Christian, he advised me that now in 2024, there's going to be beach wrestling for the ladies on the Olympic level. So all this stuff coming tonight. You've got Beat the Streets. You've got some great ladies on there, right? That are wrestling. It's better. Your friend, we're gonna get her good. Your friend, the legendary Ashley Sword, will be coaching in the corner tonight. I'm waiting for her smiley face with the eyes like looking up.
Oh, great!
But she's probably, I don't know where are they wrestling? Is it New York somewhere?
They are in New York somewhere, but I don't know the location. It may not be a disclosed location. It may be a secret. Yeah, I don't know.
Secrets are no fun. Secrets. But yeah. So, you know, what does all that mean for the growth of women's sports? And then, like I spoke earlier, there's young ladies coming up that are amazing. I mean, like I said, I've had some on. I had one on yesterday. I have one on today. Both of them competing at who's number one. But there's some real badasses that in this next wave. What are you seeing as far as women's wrestling right now?
Well, it's amazing, the growth. You know, like you said, the college programs adding, the opportunities, you know, just right here where I'm at, we went from being, you know, Adrian's about 2.5 hours away. We went from being the only program within about a 2.5 hour circle aside from Adrian to now Lord's at it and now Trying at it. And I believe you talked to both of their coaches earlier this summer, which is awesome. But now both of those programs are also within that 2.5 hour radius. And that gives us really that competition base and gives us a couple different things. Obviously makes recruiting harder, which maybe not as fun for me, but you know, as we look at that, that's going to continue to produce that next level and that next group. And you know, I think, you know, I've heard Terry say it, I've heard various different people say it, but like, why don't we want the second half of the population, the other gender, involved? And that's such a huge part, because now we've got moms that wrestled, and obviously they're supportive of it because they know all the lessons that they learned from it. And now the sport goes from being a niche sport, a you know, kind of smaller population sport, to growing to that rapid level. And I think that's going to happen over the next timeline. Like, as we continue to get the athletes that grow up, be parents, start getting their kids into it, and just the way that it can explode that way is that's how the other sports did it. So it's exciting to see that future. And then, you know, like you said, the idea of having another women's wrestling style in the Olympics is just amazing. You know, it's It's a different sport. It's a different thought process. It's some things, but you know, the opportunity to watch it last year, you know, I was there in Vegas supporting Ashley and watched it and was like, this is amazing. And so like the opportunity for the women to see that, and then you know, I think they'll pick it up too, because it's something that's fun. It's again, the combative spirit is something that's in every human. So it's not just a male or female, it's a human thing. And the fact that we can get that going forward is going to continue to expound, I think.
Well, I think first of all, young athletes dream, right?
Yeah.
And young girls dream just like young boys dream.
Mhm.
And, you know, a lot of young girls are saying, okay, my way to the next level, whether it's college, worlds, Olympics, has always been soccer or softball or women's basketball or you know, or swimming, you know, diving. Those are the sports that we see, gymnastics, right? Now we see women's wrestling on the Olympic level. So now they can say, well, I can do that too. And then to
Yeah.
add the beach level on there, now they say I can do that too. So now girls aren't limited to just deciding that I want to be a soccer player or I want to be a basketball player. They can say, well, look at that. I can get to college and I can get
Mhm.
to pro level or world level by doing this as well. And man, I mean, you talk to like the beach volleyball girls, man, they've had a great living, get to play beach volleyball, travel the world. How cool would it be to be on beaches all the time?
Yeah.
You're on a beach and you wrestle. I mean, do you get like Mai Tais when you're done? I mean, that's pretty cool, right? Like,
That's
winner
your
gets a Mai Tai, loser gets water. That'd be cool. You know, what advice, you know, when you're out recruiting and you're talking to young ladies or you're doing any of your speaking engagements,
Mhm.
um, what advice do you give them to make sure they're preparing for the next level? You know, for example, obviously the mindset, obviously you know, you're going to be mom or dad or parent figures not there to wake you up and make sure you go to class anymore, right? But
Yeah.
also, you know, a lot of the girls too are folk style, right? So
Mhm.
transition to freestyle or they're wrestling only boys,
Yeah.
and they've got to learn to now go from wrestling legs to wrestling upper body to doing things differently. I mean, what are some of those things that you kind of try to instill in them to
Mhm.
do something little by little to get at least somewhat ready for what's up next?
Yeah. You know, I would start with just the thought of like, even to get to that next level, don't be afraid to reach out to a coach. Coaches are always looking, and they can only be at so many events, or follow so many events. So if you're looking at a place, reach out. Website information has every coach's info, whether it's phone numbers, emails, the recruit form, all that kind of stuff. So start there and take a little initiative, because that tells me that you've already looked at some of the things that I would basically want to know first. Like, do you know our school? Do you know who I am? Do you know what the you know, do you know what the program is about? Do we have your major? And those kind of things are like starters, because that gives me some information about that individual to begin with. Because we don't want somebody that needs a parent. I don't want to say we don't want them, but like, if you need your parent to wake you up at 6 a.m. to go to school every day, that's going to be hard when you get to college, because that parent isn't there and your roommate's not going to do it.
Because your roommate's trying to figure out how to do it too.
That's right. That's right. And so, like, you
They're not
know,
going to make you eggs in the morning.
nobody's doing it. Yes. And so getting that kind of stuff and a little bit of self starter helps a ton. And it tells the coaches that is somebody that they're gonna want. So that kind of stuff is really big.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, you know, before we get into our fun 10 questions here, somebody told me that you have a little hobby of fighting wildfires. So,
Yeah,
shouldn't you be in Oregon right now?
I believe me, every bit of me wanted to be back there last week.
First of all, our thoughts and prayers go out to the people
Yes.
of Oregon. You know, hopefully things are getting under control.
hopefully people are not dying and they're getting people out of their homes and stuff. And so first of all, our condolences are there with them. But yeah, I mean, talk about that. That had to be, well, I don't want to say like fun, not fun, cool experience, scary experience. Like there's got to be a lot of feelings. It just depends on the
Yeah.
situation, right?
Yeah. You know, it was, I loved every minute. Even the hard moments, you know, at the moment I probably didn't, but when I look back on it, I definitely did. And you know, I was on a hot shot crew for 9 years up in Washington, and we traveled the country, went everywhere from Alaska to North Carolina, and you know, got to see everything in between. I think we went to somewhere around 17 or 18 different states that we actually fought fire in, let alone driving through different places to get places. You know, in a 10-year period, which is amazing. And then, you know, one of the other big perks of that was that it was a summer job. So I didn't have to work in the winter. It paid enough that I didn't have to work in the winter, and then could coach all winter. So it was a great yin and yang. I'd spend all summer fighting fires, traveling the country, come back and coach my high school team and give them all the attention that they could ever need, because I didn't have to go work and on top of it. So it made it pretty great. And, you know, there were long hikes, steep ground, you know, danger around the corner, which for an adrenaline junkie helps.
How are, I'm sure a lot of your friends right now are, excuse me, are in Oregon and are trying to combat what's going on there. How is it going? What have you heard? Are they getting stuff contained? I mean,
Yeah, places are. You know, the big part of what happened was it was a significant event. It was one of those things that only happens every so often. You know, maybe once a summer, more than likely once every 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 summers. And so some winds moved through and changed the direction of where the fires should have been burning, or even that kind of stuff. And it made it drier and made it, you know, with the winds and flames, if you don't know, makes things move fast. But things are slowing down. In fact, I saw something that said they were getting a storm coming in sometime in the next couple of days that should bring some rain. Snow to the mountains, which we've been making fun of our Wyoming athlete on campus, because that her house got like a foot of snow like just a couple days ago. It's like, how are you getting snow already? Where are you from? Like Siberia?
yeah. Did you see what happened in Colorado the other day? Like, I saw was Coach Medina posted, like one day there was snow on the ground, the next day it was summer again. Like, how'd that happen? It's crazy. Well, that's cool. It's good to hear they're getting under control. I do know that's something that's your passion. You did it for a long time, and thanks to the legendary Ashley Sword for giving me the heads up.
Yeah. Yes.
And by the way, Ashley, good luck tonight. I hope Vic kicks some ass. You and Christian out there doing big things. Go Vic, kick some ass. Do a good job. All right, 10 questions. You ready?
Okay.
Nothing about Fort Wayne.
That's good.
All right. Tofu or portobello's?
Tofu, because you can make it taste like whatever you want.
Nice.
It has no flavor, so you have to create it.
Nice. Okay, here we go. Arabian or thoroughbred?
Arabians are prettier. Yeah.
I hear you're a horse fanatic. So
yes, my wife does Oldenburgs, so that's a whole nother breed.
Eggplant Parmesan or pasta?
Pasta. Yeah, I'm a pasta guy.
All right. Appaloosas or American quarters?
Appaloosa.
All right.
I like the color.
PB&Js or veggie burgers?
Whew. I like a good PB&J. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. Morgans or warm bloods?
Warm bloods. Yeah.
All right. Bean dip or guac?
Guac every time.
Every time. Grade horses or ponies?
Ponies are cute. I think I'd like to have a pony. Yeah.
Just walking around the house, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Come here, boy. Giddy up.
We're gonna give my wife ideas here.
Yeah. We'll name him Mr. Ed. Probably dating ourselves if we talk about it.
Yes, exactly.
kids are like, who the hell's Mr. Ed? They're
Then
like,
go back to
this is a rotary phone. This is a typewriter. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I hear two of your favorites, grilled cheese or mozzarella sticks.
Oh. They are mozzarella sticks. Yeah. I can eat mozzarella sticks every meal.
And there's a place down here, you know, I've still been a little afraid to eat in at a restaurant.
Yeah.
I still do like to go stuff. There's a place here, they make them homemade and they come out like just a big square block, like
Nice.
breadcrumb. I mean, I think I have a picture of me once, like going like this, and
Yes.
cheese would just
I
go
like
on.
it.
Yeah.
Although I have to admit that cheese curds aren't a thing on the West Coast. Like they don't exist. So when I first had a cheese curd out here in the Midwest, that changed everything. That's a
Changed the whole game, right?
different game now too.
I've got a Wisconsin girl coming on at 1. I have to ask her if she does cheese curds.
Exactly.
Gated breeds or draft breeds?
Drafts are awesome.
And then I added one more.
Okay.
I gave you an 11.
Yes.
I went Haagen-Dazs or Ben and Jerry's.
Haagen-Dazs. Yes.
Oh, because I did hear your passion for ice cream is big.
All the ice cream. Give me all the ice cream.
That's awesome. Hey, Coach, man, this has been awesome. One of my favorite shows ever, man. You're awesome to talk to. You're great to talk to.
Thank you.
Yeah, keep kicking life's ass out there, man. I look forward to rooting.
It's gonna take a couple years, but we will. That's a pun back.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm a fan. Go Indiana Tech. I'll be rooting for you.
Thank you.
Don't worry, Ashley. I'll root for you too. Nobody's listening to this. And man, I'm excited. I'm excited to see women's wrestling growing. I'm excited to get the opportunity to talk to you. And this has definitely been fun. Anytime you want to do it again, you know how to get a hold of me.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. I'm honored to get to talk to everybody and get to talk to you. And this is amazing what you got put together here. So keep up the good work, please, because it's fun.
Awesome. Thank you. Andy Cook says, proud of you, Coach.
Yes, that's my boy.
P.S. I'm listening.
I like it.
Well, you're listening no more because I'm ending the show. Mike Horvath, great show. Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right,
Thanks.
buddy. See you.